So, in all honesty, if you guys think that Andy Dalton is better than Dak Prescott, or Andy Dalton's going to pull a Ryan Tannehill on Dak Prescott, congrats. I've lost hope for you because not even comparable. Andy Dalton is nowhere near the quarterback that Dak Prescott is. Dak Prescott, the problem that everyone has with Dak Prescott, and even I have this problem too, is that he's asking for a lot of money. But who doesn't? When you outperformed your salary and you've been underpaid for years, no matter what your field is, you're going to bitch and moan and want a new contract. That's just part of life, no matter what your field is. And he's clearly outperformed where he was drafted in the 4th round. What more do you want from him? He's won a division twice. He competes in a division that has a top team in his conference year in, year out in Philadelphia, who won a Super Bowl also while Dak Prescott was there. He's made the playoffs, 2 division titles, hasn't missed a start, mature, leader, stands up for his teammates. Now I'm going into the draft cliches that we poke fun at, but they're all true. It's all check marks for Dak Prescott. And has he benefited from his contract because of the weapons that they have around him, and they could keep Zeke Elliott happy, and they could have this sensational offensive line and get some of those defensive players, and now they could draft CeeDee Lamb, and you got Gallup, and Amari Cooper comes in on this big contract? Yeah, absolutely. But you don't think other quarterbacks have benefited from not having a big contract? What do you think Pat Mahomes is doing right now in KC? You don't think he's benefiting? I'm not comparing Mahomes to Dak Prescott because Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever seen from a talent perspective, and I'm already anointing him the GOAT. That's a bar. But Mahomes has Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, a stellar offensive line. They could go out and get Frank Clark. They could bring in Honey Badger. So he's benefited from that same situation. What difference is it? And Dak is just the next guy that is meant to get paid. And that's just what always happens in the NFL and in any sport, yo. You're always going to be considered overpaid because you're the next guy that's going to set the market for all the other guys before you. So the salary cap is around $198 million this year. And when you give a guy about 20 to 25% of that, roughly, it's going to hurt your team. Shit, look what happened to the Rams. Yo, the Rams were giving 40% of their cap to 5 players. 2 of them was a disaster. One of them is out the door already in Todd Gurley. But what happens? You have one offensive lineman that leaves in free agency because he couldn't get paid because you paid Jared Goff and you paid Todd Gurley. The other guy retired. So now what was the strength of the Rams, the offensive line, is now night-night. It's a disaster. So that's why Jared Goff struggles, because you pay Goff, but then other units on the field take a hit. And that's the same thing that you're going to look at with Dallas. Dallas is going to have the same issues. You're not going to be able to keep all the guys that you have on your roster. And you've already seen it. They lost Byron Jones. They didn't even attempt to make an offer to Byron Jones because they know Dak is the next guy that got to get paid. So in all sports, no matter what it is, you benefit when you have either a superstar on a cheap contract and he outperforms that, or you have a quarterback on a cheap deal. Look at the NBA. You don't think the Golden State Warriors dynasty benefited from Steph Curry having shitty ankles? Of course they did. Dude, he was making $12 million a year in the years that he won back-to-back MVPs. How else do they get Durant? They bring in Iguodala. They get all these role players that they could just give $7-8 million per, more than any other team in the league. They keep Draymond Green. They keep Klay Thompson. Because they're paying Steph Curry dick compared to what he was at the time. Literally changed the game in the NBA. Steph Curry is in the Mount Rushmore of players that have changed the league. Because now every guard has to shoot threes and has to be productive from three-point land because of Steph Curry. And they had him on a cheap deal. Shit, everyone's watching The Last Dance. You don't think the Bulls benefited from giving Scottie Pippen fucking pocket change? Of course they did. And that's the situation that's happening right now with Dak Prescott, where he's a guy that is the next guy up, and he's going to get paid. And of course it's going to hurt his team because that's just how it goes in all sports. But you got to pay him. And there's no way that Andy Dalton's better than him.